Hello. Hi, Kira.
Hey.
Just in case people don't know who you are, I said your name, but what's your full name?
Kira Sutherland.
Kira, you're an astrologer?
Yes.
Naturopath?
Australian naturopath.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Herbalist, homeopath, nutritionist, all kinds of stuff. Medical astrology. So in astrology, I am a medical astrologer.
Yes.
Although I do regular astrology, but
yes,
yeah,
you do. And I'm going to add to this of the informal words. There's so much more in your brain, Kira. I've known you for a long time. There's so much going on with you, with your knowledge base and how you combine it together. I always find your brain amazing, and when you talk, so on and so forth. Today, this particular video, we're going to talk a little bit about Mercury and Aquarius. Where we are, we're in Australia, so the time's always, at least from where I am on the West Coast, is 16 hours ahead.
Yeah.
But soon here next week, it's the 27th, 28th, 29th. Mercury's going to go into Aquarius.
You're in the future.
We're in the
You're
future.
In the future
Speaking of Mercury and Aquarius, we're in the future. We're speaking of the future. We have that transit before it will go into Pisces, and there'll be a retrograde happening there. But this part, at least, I think is interesting. So some thoughts. I will say in the beginning of the transit that once Mercury hits 0, 1, and 2, there's actually a day where the moon's going to be in Aquarius, Mercury and Pluto. There's like a triple conjunction that happens.
That's crazy.
In my past videos, I was talking about this place from 29 Capricorn to 0. As anybody who watches my channel, you know I've been preaching about this for 2 years, and the rituals that we've done on the channel, about the promises we make to ourselves in the creation process. But I feel that this 29 Mercury into 0, it actually closes up the books on the Pluto and Capricorn story in the 29 degree place. So I just want to say that we have this, and all of a sudden we there's the conjunction with Pluto, but the moon's there. And you know, there's for me the tendency to think about like of the future, the next 20 years of Pluto and Aquarius, when it deals with who we are as people, individually, autonomously, and then how we step into society and groups and community, right?
Yeah.
But then like who we are there. But let's say from a mercurial perspective, you know, how are we doing that through Aquarius, right? So obviously we're talking about an air sign that Saturn ruled traditionally, but I also think has a higher antenna, right?
Absolutely.
A buzzing antenna. And I would say, and let me know what you think about this, Kira, that antenna is connected to our bodies, or especially our nervous system.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Well, you know what I was thinking as you were talking? It's all about our nervous system, and we'll have that big focus with Aquarius and with the Mercury going through, because Mercury is really nervous system. It's your brain. It's all the kind of, Mercury is also like the chemicals that get sent around the body that tell us what to do and how to feel. And so there are these, what we call neurotransmitters that, just push our bodies in all these different directions. So it's not just our nervous system that's going to be almost overly stimulated, or we're going to feel like, I don't want to say it's on fire, but it is going to feel really activated. But it's also how messages are getting sent around the body. Mercury, or Hermes, messenger of the gods. So Mercury is about messages. So it's nervous system, it's hormones, it's the chemicals that tell the body what to do and how to feel. And then I was thinking about Aquarius, because we keep thinking nervous system, but Aquarius is also circulation, which is also how messages get around the body. So I kind of went into this whole thought around, it's all about the messages, how we're communicating with others, but how our body communicates with itself. And so taking that time and space, we've been talking a lot about resting the nervous system or checking in with it, but it's all about what messages our body is giving us. And
right.
I think we forget to do that because we get so busy and wired up, we don't listen. And so I think there's that space of, what are my hormones saying? What is my nervous system saying? What's the circulation doing? Circulation is what brings all the nutrients around the body and distributes it and brings the oxygen. So circulation is also about communication.
Interesting. I'm thinking about my own personal world of through the pandemic and COVID, and I've sat at a desk and so on and so forth. I have a lot of Aquarius in my, I have a lot of air in my chart.
Yeah.
So, but I found myself in the sense, I felt like being in my head all the time and not being in my body, that literally don't feel that. I feel like all my energy stuck up here in these top part and doesn't move down. I found myself disconnected and then bothered. I'm not sleeping and I'm wondering why I have a short fuse or I don't feel good, you know. And then even I don't know if this is part of age, but by my ankles and my shins, I've been noticing small little varicose veins appearing, and isn't that kind of
that's very Aquarian. Varicose veins, absolutely. And you know, ankles and wrists, you know, if we're going to go Gemini, if we're going to go air signs, ankles and wrists are where we hold and release a lot of energy. It's why, like, when people are sleeping and they're trying to settle their nervous system, like if you look at cats and dogs, sort of tangented on you, but
it's okay,
they pull their arms in to relax. Or you'll hear often about people on the spectrum will pull, they often sleep like this. I actually think everybody should sleep like that, because that's telling the nervous system to calm down and relax. And it's the same with the ankles. I have this weird habit when I can't sleep, I actually stick my toes across my Achilles of my other foot.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
and I connect in, and it's like I'm pulling the circuit, I'm holding the circuit together. Does that make sense?
No, it totally makes sense.
So to bring it back to more Aquarius and ankles, I literally connect my ankles together with my toes.
Wow,
I don't know if I should have said that.
No.
But anyway, but it's amazing. If I can't sleep and I do that, it's like my whole nervous system goes, oh, okay, I can shut down and I can keep the pattern within this circle, which is like, you know, the circulation system is circular, right? It doesn't have open holes to it. And electrics are a bit like a circular pattern as well. And so that doing that and then pulling the ankles or crossing them over each other. That's why we cross our legs. It feels safer. It feels more comfortable.
I do this when I sleep, because the other day you were looking at my ankles that was like hairless from the back. It's like one side's calf, different for the calf, and then you're like, you cross your legs. I'm like, how do you know that?
It's shutting down your shutting down your nervous system.
See, I'm naturally doing that for a long time. I don't realize my body's trying to help it.
Self-soothing. You know, and our nervous system is so wired up, and with all this air coming and this Aquarius energy, it's about pulling it down. And then with the moon, you know, that day that we're going to have Pluto, Moon,
Mercury.
You know, the moon is about your digestion and your stomach. And we make a lot of chemicals in our digestive system as well. And it's how we get our nourishment. And a lot of chemicals in the digestive system also affect our nervous system. So it's going to be a really potent day to kind of be gentle with our body. Like, if I could give anyone advice, you're fine to leave your house, hopefully, but it's a big day to like check through the body and how is it all functioning. And I think it would be a good broth, easy, lots of green, juicy kind of day for me, to let it all settle rather than going heavy into the system. Yeah,
I like this too, because this particular degree in the early degrees of Aquarius and air is going to be fundamental later in the year when Uranus goes into Gemini, and we're going to have this huge story of an ongoing trine, connective 120 degree trine between Gemini and Aquarius, Uranus and Pluto, and this is underlying, you know, a longer story. I like taking the time in that day. You know what's popped up for me? You know, when we look at the constellation and the artwork for Aquarius, you know, we have the water bear. It's like people typically think it's a water sign, but it's usually you see like a goddess, or they have the jug of water, and then they're pouring the water out, and sometimes you'll see it over the globe, over Earth. And some of the way I've taken this is like Aquarius takes the current knowledge out there that the society or the culture is done, and they bring it back into their lab, right? And then they liberate it and synthesize it and try to refine it for something new, and that new knowledge is the water in the jug, and they pour it back and contribute it back into society, right? And in one sense too, what you said about the actual physical body of having to do this circular thing, but then having to move out, you know, to keep things moving, I think is a metaphor within our bodies and in planet Earth. Aquarius is known for having and wanting to be autonomous, and sometimes a separateness and being alone to find their individualistic selves, right? Or the Aquarius part of your chart. Pluto's working there for 20 years to dig in that place and to bring up what's not working anymore, the poison, the stuff that needs to be purged out and released. And there's a process to that. But part of the process, can't forget, is you are taking care of yourself, that part of your chart. At some point, you do, once brought to a newer place, a liberating place, a progressive place, you do bring that back into the town square. And typically, everybody else will be doing that. Hopefully, that's the utopian Aquarian ideal, right? So you do that, and something new comes. You're still your individualistic self. We bring in Mercury of how we communicate that, how we synthesize that, and how our thoughts and ideas and opinions are formed, and even the chemical process you brought up of how things shoot back and forth and the hormones being triggered. It's all connected. So I like the thing you talked about of coming to like ground yourself, so on and so forth, because if you are out there affected about the politics in the world, where we're going, the worry is like, I like the autonomy part of taking care of oneself, and for eventually, once you do bring that to your community, your family, your crew, out there, right? I hope
do you know what I got when you were describing the water pouring over the earth with that conjunction? The picture I got was that water like getting poured on the earth, but almost like that's watering, and the earth appeared like a seed. And it was like, what, because there is that detox to it, but also it was like then the earth was going to sprout its new
story,
plant.
It
was literally like the earth turned into a little seed that was getting watered, but then it popped quite quick. And I just was thinking about people's health, and it is about humanity and that, that whole bigger community. But it was also, that's a really good day to consider, what are you getting rid of, or getting rid of those few days before that transit? And then what are you seeding to grow from the ashes with Pluto and the moon? And my brain went into like overload, but the visual was the earth turning into a seed and popping of what are we trying to grow over the next 20 years.
Yes, no, well said, Kira. And it brings up something here. We talk about the beginning ingress of Mercury, but it's not too long that we have a new moon that's going to happen, in Aquarius, and it kind of leads into that. So if one were to think about transits in the chapters of a story, this beginning part of the story with Mercury and Aquarius, the moon and Pluto, it does lead into the new moon in Aquarius and in Aquarius birthday, so on and so forth. So I really dig that.
It was a little bit like my brain, but it's
I had the pouring thing, and I talked about it, but the seed and the blooming or the thing, that's the
next layer. But we think of Pluto so much as that death and rebirth and the detoxification and the release, but you also have, Pluto is the ashes that then we grow something from, and ash is a fertilizer, right? And then Aquarius is adding that water. Aquarius, even though it's an air sign, it's the water of the idea.
The idea,
And what is getting poured into the ashes and then going to grow. That's what,
Yeah, and just saying this now, we're talking about this, I'm cynical as they come, at times, but the way you explain that, where we found ourselves here, I'm like, I feel hopeful. There is a way, there is a chance. And can someone even get caught up in the wonder of experimenting with the ideas and eventually what you'll pour back out into the world, and you can have fun with that, you can explore that. And I think that's another part of Aquarius, of its need to be freaky, to break off from the norms, the normal line, and that sense, that vitality, that something like, I break off and I must do it my way, and I'm called to do it my way, and that can be extremely fun, creative, and liberating. So for those out there recently, you're like, this and that, and I don't blame you. I feel you. It's heavy, but know that that's there. And if you were one to use the transits, if we would think about these kind of this week, that what we're talking about with Mercury's moon Pluto and the new moon, you can do something with it, you know? So, and again, to reiterate the part you talk about, I'm going to have some green juice that day. I'm going to do this and that. I'm like, I'm feeling it too, as someone with a lot of Aquarius in my chart.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Oh, that's really good, Kira. Thank you.
I like that.
No, that's good. We could keep talking. We could keep talking. Kira, thank you for just your presence and your thoughts about all this.
Always.
Yeah.
I love visiting with you. Or are you visiting me finally?
Literally. Literally. I appreciate you. What's the name of your website and IG?
Astrology of Health. So astrologyofhealth.com is my website, and then at Astrology of Health.
Yeah, you're doing teachings, you have webinars, you have a ton of stuff.
All kinds of stuff. Lots of stuff. If you don't, lots of a gazillion podcasts as well. You can link and listen to all kinds of stuff. And lots of little short courses, bigger courses.
Some downloadables.
Lots of free downloads.
And then again, to kind of finish this off, behind us here are these drawers and this beautiful space that we're in here where you concoct potions, but really you're dealing with herbs and essences and
all the alchemy happens here.
No, beautiful space, Kira, and thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
All right, everybody.
See ya.
See ya.